Hello everyone, this is Umad Qureshi, your only UQ with Tammy on Ed Talk Live with UQ and Tammy. I'm from Pakistan and Tammy is from Singapore, and welcome again. We are really excited. We have a wonderful guy with us who is a wonderful educationist and a big advocate of quality teachers and education. So Tammy, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Tell us what
Good.
is the topic of today and who is the guest with us?
Well, today we are very fortunate to have Barry Saide from New Jersey, and he's going to talk about, or we are going to talk about investing in people in our school buildings and investing in that culture of schools. So that's kind of like a huge, I don't even want to call it a topic right now, but it's a huge thing that's happening in many schools across states and countries where people are really spending time investing in their people, which is awesome. So hi Barry, how are you?
Hi Tammy, hi UQ, how are we?
Hi.
All good.
I'm good.
All right, awesome.
So a little bit about Barry. He's done a lot of work with ASCD, and this is how we know him. We're all emerging leaders. We're in the same class, go 2014. Barry's also an ASCD Influence Leader, an NJASCD Board Member. He is the former Co-Director of NJASCD North. And not only that, he does have a regular day job, which is not even regular, but he's the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for Tabernacle Township School District. Mm-hmm. Prior to this role, Barry and I have some commonalities with the grades that we've taught, second, third, and fifth grades, almost for the same number of years, which I will not say because it's kind of a long time.
Right.
In the past, Barry's also served on some advisory boards, one of them being the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Great Schools, and National Center for Teacher Quality. So nothing major there, pretty mundane.
Keep it low key.
Yeah, keep it on the down low. And Barry's also fundraised over $250,000 in grants and matching funds to host over 2,000 educators in over 25 states at free professional development convenings. And he also has two awesome boys and even more awesome wife named Jessica. So we're lucky to steal you away from your precious ones on the Sunday morning. So thanks for spending a bit of time with us, Barry.
Oh,
It's really an honor. It's really an honor, Barry. Hey, buddy, thank you.
Umair, high five back. I got to be honest, I'm hoping 30 minutes from now that you still feel it's an honor. It's, listen to my own resumes is kind of surreal in a sense, because honestly, I'm just trying to be 1% better every day. As you guys are too. So honestly, just the fact that you built this and it's something that we're doing and these are conversations we get to have is something that's just powerful for me. So thanks for giving me an opportunity to be here.
For sure.
Let's start.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we have some kind of kindred experiences in the classroom, the grades we've taught, the number of years we've taught, but not in the same location, but similar experiences. Mm-hmm. So one of the favorite things that I like to talk about, and of course you do as well, is student development and creating those learning experiences for and with students. So as per usual, I have a very loaded question, a couple parts to it. Yeah. So the first part is, can you just talk a bit about when you were in the classroom and when you're out now working with teachers, how do you plan out meaningful experiences for students? And then now thinking the part two is, now that you work with teachers, how do you kind of bring that, like string that all together? Okay. Sorry, that's a lot of question.
No, I got you. It really all comes from the same place. And so it's really the same skill set. At the end of the day, it's really how am I using my instructional hat to help build professional development experiences and personalized professional development experiences that meet the needs of all my stakeholders. So when I was teaching, I would just sit down and build out lesson plans with the ideas of my 25 students or my 30 students in class. What are their needs? what are the needs of the curriculum, and how do I kind of merge that together to hit those high points to make sure that those learning targets were happening, right? And now that I'm with teachers all the time, it's that same process. It's knowing them as people first, foundationally, who are they? Where do they come from? What's their background knowledge? What's their comfort level in the curriculum? As well as what's their comfort level with me and with kids? And then how do I utilize that to make sure that we're creating strong instructional outcomes more of the time? So with all those pieces being said, it's honestly a lot of soft skill work in terms of really understanding the needs of the people in front of me and then the people that are in front of them. And then how do I merge both those things to make sure that everybody's getting what they need out of the environment?
Yeah, totally agree with you. What's your favorite part of all of that work, or parts? Pieces?
The mess. The mess is the most important part. So what I like is when I walk into something and it's not working out well, and there is a lot of disconnect, because that's really where the work comes in, right? If I walk in and every student's engaged and teachers hitting all their marks and they're doing all the things they're supposed to be doing, there's no need for me. For me, it's just I give them a pat on the back and I keep going, and I'll find a way to leverage them and their strength and skill set to turn key to someone else. But what I really like is when we can get in depth in the work where it's not working out well, where maybe we've got strong objectives, but the delivery isn't as strong, or we're not matched with the right resources, or perhaps there's certain students in the class that aren't engaged, right? Like, where's the enigma? And then to find from those situations, be able to target them and then have some individualized learning goals to say, what are we going to do to meet the needs of what's in front of us, and then build from there. That's what I like to do. I like to create. And when there's a challenge, then that's where we really get to see, like, how strong are we at what we do, and can we do that outside the box thinking that we need to do to figure out what are the needs in front of me and how can I meet that.
And that is a huge investment in your people, the most important part of a school. 100%. So yeah, very cool.
So Barry, if this is the approach for planning for students, you did touch about the teachers. Can you explain more how you plan experiences for teachers?
Well, here's the one thing that I always do, and wherever I've started as an administrator, my first thing has always been to sit down with every member of the staff. First, it's just a general survey to kind of introduce them into my thinking, and it's very, very simple. It's just 2 or 3 questions. It's, what initiative do you want to move forward with if you had your opportunity? What's one initiative that you want us to just kind of destroy and eliminate right now? And then what's one question I need to ask of you that I haven't asked? So just really simple. I want your best thinking in this short amount of time, because I know you've probably been hit with a million different things right now. So just let's keep it light, right? And then from there, it's informal meetings with teachers. So towards the end of the school year, usually, like, I would start July 1. So I'm in there in mid to early June, just saying, like, let's have informal meetings before the summer comes, and then you don't see me till September, or like over the summer come in, and it's just simple, just 3-4 questions. Just tell me about you, hobbies, pets, family. If you were principal or curriculum director for the year, what's that one thing you're going to start right now? What's that one thing you're going to end right now? What's something I'm not asking you that I need to? What's something sacred here that I need to know, right? Because that whole first year, wherever I am, it's all relationship building. Like, I might have a million great ideas that have worked everywhere I've been, and all you need to do is trust me. But the thing is, if you don't know me, you can't trust me. So the whole first year is really proving ground. Well, I'm just going to look for opportunities to kind of leverage you and hit your strengths and let you know you can trust me. And I've been there before, and I got the scars to prove it. And at the end of the year, we'll come back to one another, and then we'll decompress, and we'll say, all right, here's where we were year 1. Here's some things that we're going to focus on year 2. Now you can trust me a little bit, so now I'm going to push you a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Right. So Barry, let's talk about this work, and how do you get teachers motivated to do this work? Like, you have same investment you have done some investment in them. So how do you motivate them?
Well, one thing I try to do is I'm consistent every single day. I think the one thing we all need that builds up trust and relationships is just knowing where you stand with people. So for me, I'm the same way every day. You know, where you see me on Mondays, where you see me on Friday, and in between. You know, I'm gonna walk the hallways the same way. I'm gonna come into your classrooms every day. I'm gonna connect with your students. I'm gonna know their names. I'm gonna know their families. I'm gonna know their hobbies. I'm going to make that investment in just the little things every single day. So it just becomes a natural progression into, you know, let's talk about pedagogy and practice. And when we're talking about those things, there's no pointing fingers. It's no you or me. It's just like, let's watch the film or let's talk about it. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you on my experiences, and I'm going to be the first to take the leap to talk about those vulnerable moments where I spent those 15 years in the classroom. And let me tell you about some of the screw ups that I had and I did, and I'll own them, because we can use me as the incubator to then talk about practice that you're going through and have. So those are just a few ways that I kind of try to flip the script and make it like, let's use my vulnerabilities, let's use my failures as a way to kind of talk about how we can both move forward in this work.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think that people would really value, I know I would, just the relatability for you to just bring forward, you know, your experience, and this is where I needed to improve. And so let's kind of find that common ground so that you can move forward.
Oh, yeah.
I
even have video, Tammy. I have video of me teaching and teaching both like really bad and really good. When you see bad Barry teaching second graders, and like every student's getting up off the rug to get a drink or go to the classroom, and I don't have classroom management. And then you see me with the same group of kids and I'm rocking it because I got everything back down. Powerful with that, you know, and the fact that I'm so open and sharing that and saying like, here, look, this kid gets up and goes here. Now this kid goes and talks with that kid, you know, and I look like I'm doing like the play-by-play with the NFL. And I'm like marking stuff up. But then later you see like everybody's engaged and there's cooperative group work, and I've got my anchor chart, and I've got, you know, kids really engaged in the process. And you can see the before and after. That's when they can say, okay, he's real. Like this is legit. You know, he's not just talking. He hasn't made it up. Like it's here on video. Like I can talk to him, and there's power in that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Before you move on, Tammy, I just got an idea. Barry, you have heard about Teach Like a Champion, right?
Oh, with Doug? Yes.
Yeah. So I just got the idea that what if you start compiling the videos, the bad Barry and the good Barry, and we move on with that project. I can support you.
Yeah, I mean, we could even just show the video and let people be able to dub in their own language, and really do it up. You know, that could be amazing. You want to talk about something going viral? We could do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And very relatable to all
100%,
teachers.
100%.
Yeah.
Tammy, your turn.
Well, and it just makes me think too, like now I do relief teaching, and, you know, so I'm in a classroom with different sets of kids all the time, and the same things happen. Like I've been teaching for how long, and someone will just start talking to someone, and I'm like, how is this still happening? So, you know, your approach is just so different though for when those things happen. Yeah. And so, you know, it's less reactiveness and just more patience with people and understanding who they are. Right. Yeah. And so I think this kind of process leads into the next question about, so now that you've been through a few roles and done a lot of things. So how do you then further your own development in this role? So we've talked about, you know, supporting teachers and things like that. So you're in a different role now. So what are some of the things that you do and for yourself and to support the people that you work with?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tammy, because like in the end, yes, it's all about giving of yourself, but then what are you getting out of it too, right? So for me, it's always been like, how can I recreate the apple cart every day? So there's some things that we're doing in Tabernacle that I'm really proud of, that's pushing the envelope for our staff, but also pushing me too. So one thing we've done is we started to go to do more video capture and lesson study as an alternative to the traditional observation model. So in New Jersey, we have something for our tenured folks where it's like they have 2 observations over the course of the year and that's it, right? And so technically that's all we see them. But when you have a staff who's been here for a while and done the heavy lifting and done the work, 2 observations don't honor their craft. And by the same token, if they're having a bad day, all of a sudden, like, that's a snapshot of them and that gets graded out. And that's not fair either. So how do we move them forward and still keep my instructional strategies iron sharp? So what we've done is, so for my staff who's interested, we do 4 video observation captures in month-long increments. So once a month, they choose the video that they take of themselves. They bring it in. They'll have watched it before, so they have some like touch points that they want to kind of connect on. And we just watch the film together. And I just put on my instructional coaching hat and we sit down elbow to elbow, like knee to knee, like we would if we were doing Daily 5. And we're just sitting there, like just breaking down film, like. And I'll just say, like, hey, what were you thinking right here? They're like, watch this, like, watch what happens here. What do you think? And we leave. We both have a big pile of notes, and then we share our notes over Google Doc, and we come up with like 1 or 2 goals, and they put that into play for the next time that we meet. And after the 4th meeting, then we do a traditional observation. So that'll be like the 5th time. And even though I score them out where we use the Danielson rubric, they still get a teacher effectiveness score of a 4.0, so top flight, just for going through this process. And their growth is exponential. So what we see in like that first video, then by the time we see them like in the classroom sitting there, it's unbelievable. And these are teachers who are already really good, but they're really crushing it now because they've done that metacognitive piece, that thinking about the thinking and watching themselves on film, which is really hard. But if I show you 2nd grade Bad Barry, like making a mess, you're going to be more open to breaking yourself down. So by the time that 5th observation comes, you're just kind of like, you're doing it and it's all good. So that's one thing we've done that I'm really, really proud of. Because for me, that's made me a better teacher today than I was in September.
Awesome.
That's great. Awesome. Barry, we have talked about teachers and your support for the teachers and how you motivate them and everything. You had been part of Gates and Melinda Foundation, and you do keep an insight on what kinds of projects are funded. So my question is a bit different from the things that we were discussing before that. Like you have a good insight. What kinds of projects are funded by such big foundations? Can you tell our viewers that if those people who want to come up like the entrepreneurs in education, we call them edupreneurs, to foresee before going for grants from such organizations, like they want to apply, what they should look for and how they should prepare for their projects, like so that these organizations would stand with them?
I would look to kind of incubate an idea and get it off the ground on my own first. A big organization, like when you're talking about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, you're talking about the biggest philanthropic organization in the world, right? So they're not really looking at ideas as they are as much as fully fledged concepts that have legs and that align to the work that they're already doing. So what I would suggest is you find that idea that works for you and you start to incubate that, build that out, start to get that off the ground and moving so you have data to support it and you have users that show that you're already utilizing it and that it fills a need and a role and that it aligns to whatever it is, whether it's Gates or whether it's somewhere else, AEI or one of the other big nonprofits, and you push it out that way. But first you find what works for you, then you find that it meets the need, then you show that it meets the need, and then you push forward from there. And they'll find you. Trust me, they will find you.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, Barry, you are an advocate of improving the quality of teachers. Now, this question is a bit tricky, and I just wanted to establish a relationship. How you relate the quality of teacher with reliability of school or the organization?
Yeah, that's a tricky question. So if I'm hearing you right, and I'm just going to paraphrase it back to you, you let me know. Overall, the focus is, working for the organization itself, right? So you have a responsibility for that. But within that, you have a responsibility to every individual to help move them forward and make sure that it aligns with your organization. Am I hearing you right? And then balancing the two? Okay. All right. Well, I mean, Umair, here's the way I look at things. I'm part of that system too. And my job first is to improve me. And if I can improve myself on the way into work, whatever it is, listen to a podcast, listen to some music, getting my mind right, catching up on boxers from Tammy Marie, like whatever it is, getting my mind right so I can do best work, then I'm already improving the organization because I'm in the right frame of mind, right? So it starts with me. Then it's about how I walk into that main office. And we have our guardians at the gate. We have our secretaries, we have our custodians, we have our facilities maintenance crew. If I'm not walking in acting like everything is the greatest, like this is the best day on earth, then I'm not helping to improve the culture or help get everybody's mind right for the work we're going to do today. So again, it starts with me. That's where it comes from, right? And then it's about connecting it with families and kids at the front door and connecting in with staff and knowing what's going on with them. So I'm continually setting the culture and the tempo for everything that's going to transpire to that. And no matter how I'm feeling inside, like what's going on in the morning, or, my kids aren't getting dressed or they're throwing around stuff or each other, I need to turn that page. So when someone says to me, hey, Barry, how's it going today? I just tell them the same thing every day. I'm living the dream because I get to be with them and with kids every single day. Not everybody has that, right? Like teaching education is my second career. I worked with adults all day. I hated it. Right? It wasn't nice. They weren't nice. So for me to get to be with kids and all the things that are going on with them and to be part of their lives and at the end of the day know that no matter what, like I did something positive to help move the world forward, that's awesome. Right? That is living the dream. So that's what I do, Umair. I'm me. And I help push you forward by being me. And doing that, we all walk out of there a little bit better than I've done my job. So that's kind of where I come from with that.
That is why I love you, that you and me. So,
well, you're not you or him.
Right. That was weird.
You're very
weird.
Yeah, weird. Okay, by the way, one more question.
And yes, if I could be anyone, I'd be Tom Herr. I'm just saying, awesome. So awesome.
Okay, so the question is like, okay, you have the knowledge of working models across the world. What do you think? To what extent you agree with the existing teaching practices and the educational practices and the management practices? Do you feel a need to bring a major paradigm shift, or you are okay with the present situation?
That's not loaded at all.
We have 5 minutes, right? That was the first question, Umair. Yes, thank you. All right, here's my thinking. Our current educational system is great if you want to belong to a Retro Fitness or a Planet Fitness. If you want to belong to a standardized environment that meets the needs to 30% of your people, this is a great system for you. If you'd rather have a system that meets the needs of every individual learner as well as their families, this system needs to move and change. We are such a scared dinosaur of a system that is afraid to continue to move, despite the fact that we have the research that shows about the innovative practices being done every day, right? We live in an environment where we have doctors and dentists who continually redefine the way they do their work, right? Your heart surgery isn't done the way it was done in 1965. Your dentist does not have, thank you, exactly. Your dentist doesn't have wooden tools, right? Like, I mean, come on now. We would not stand for that, right? In our medical field, if our doctor said, well, you know what, I'm going to use the research from 15 years ago to do this heart surgery because I'm comfortable with it, right?
I'll get the cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. Right?
Yeah.
Like, But we do that with teaching, right? If you come in and you see like every kid like this, you think they're learning, and all they're doing is sitting, and it makes me nuts. As you can tell, I got a little excited right there.
It's what we expect. It's what it should be.
I'm a little passionate. So at the end of the day, what I think we need to do is we need to start taking more risks as a group. So those innovative practitioners and those risk takers that we all know from Twitter and Facebook and YouTube don't become the outliers. So when we mention them by first name, all of a sudden, like, we know who they are. We need to get to the point where we don't, because everyone's like that. And that's how we move a culture forward. And then within that, we also need to understand that we're going to have dips along the road. So whenever we embrace something brand new and people come in at different spaces and places, there's going to be a dip. So it's going to start here and it's going to go down, but then it's going to skyrocket, because that's what happens when you invest in every single person and you make them feel that they could be successful, because they will. And that's where we need to come from.
Yeah.
So I change it a little bit.
I think I agree with you. You know, there's got to be this huge overhaul, but at least there are pockets across the country and the world where there are wonderful things happening, like where you are. And so, you know, it takes some time to make the shift and do the overhaul, but at least it is happening. It's just, you know, like people like us want it to happen faster and better. And, you know, it just unfortunately doesn't, you know, I don't rule the world yet. So
you're on your way though.
Just got to wait.
Talking to you too.
And so we've just got a couple minutes left in the show, and we just usually end off with, you had mentioned listening to some podcasts, and I'm sure you've got some books on the go. Do you have any recommendations right now that you might have just listened to or are listening to for podcasts, audibles, whatever?
I tend to listen to a lot of stuff that's traditionally outside the educational culture. Because that's where I get a lot of my good thinking from, or at least I can then take it and then build it into what we're doing. So I listen to a lot of Ryan Holiday, like Ego is the Enemy, Obstacle is the Way. Those are some great books to get myself out of my own head and realize that not everything is about me. But if I understand that it's about everyone else, I can do my part to help move things forward in a positive direction. Also, if you listen to anything by Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving Something, that's also, a very good book, because it also teaches you about the opportunity and the need to let other people kind of speak their truth and to kind of realize, again, you play a role, but you're not the central figure. So again, for me, understanding, especially like you see, like it doesn't take much to get me excited, right? So I get all like jacked up and invested and let's do it, right? I need to kind of like walk myself back and realize like that all the great work doesn't happen in one day or 1 year. It takes 5, 7, 10 years. And it's about educating people and ourselves to go through this process together.
Yeah. So true. So true. So I was going to ask you to end the show with a Barry-ism. I've kind of picked one out just from our conversation. It could be living the dream. But maybe you have another Barry-ism you'd like to share as we wrap up the show.
Okay. Well, here's one that I've kind of been pushing out really since the summer. And I heard someone mention it, and it really kind of resonated with me. So I kind of tweaked it and stole it, which is what all good teachers do. You know, I heard someone present, and she was talking about the importance of, in the co-teaching model, really focusing on the other teacher, right? And how can you make that other teacher better, right? And my thinking from that is like, then it's like, let's build off of that. So it's not just how can I make that person better? How can I make you teacher of the year, right? Like, how can I make you this or that or the other? And that's really been my goal. It's right. I see you, and how am I going to make your day the best day you've ever had, right? So that's my goal. Is I want to see you, and I want this to be the best for you. So that's where I come from.
That's awesome. Great.
I love. Yeah, it's a good note
So,
to end the show on.
We are about to finish the show and we are going to off air. But before we go off air, Barry, I thank you all. But I'm going to thank you once again before giving this message to our listeners and the viewers that this program, this show is a collaborative project of Pakistani ASCD and ASCD. And if you want to watch our previous shows, you can go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and you can watch the shows. And this show will be available on that channel as well very soon today.
Make it viral.
Yeah, and Barry, you spread the word and you tell the people that two people are always here to welcome good educationists from the world. We love best voices.
Yeah. And
Thank
so,
you,
Barry, I know that you were also a little nervous to follow Tom Herr after last week, but totally different show. Totally different show and awesome, just different perspectives on a similar type of topic. And you could, if you push it, you could get more views than he does. Could we make
really? I don't know.
Like, could be a Twitter war.
Like a whole thing going on.
So do you.
I don't have like Tom Herr following. I mean, I have my two sons and my wife. That's what I got.
That's all you need.
And
but Barry, you got me as your follower. You remember we met in Atlanta? Yeah. Yeah. UQ follows you. Thank you for your time. It was lovely talking to you. This was a lot of energy.
Way long overdue. At some point we got to connect in person, which means I need to get somewhere. So I know that. I will work on that.
Awesome.
Keep doing the best work. Thank you very much.
We should work on a presentation together. How about that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, all right.
Sounds
we are
good.
going off here. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you, Bear.
Later.
That was good. That was funny.